This is the limitless Keith Lee.
This is Brody King.
This is Angel Garza.
Will Ospreay.
Hornswoggle. Pentagon Jr.
The Mexican Rey Fenix.
King Ricochet.
Concrete Rose, Sunny Kiss.
And I'm here to ask you to stop what you're doing, take just one moment, and bask in the glory of the Busted Wide Open.
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 Boston Wide Open.
Busted Wide Open. Thank you.
You're listening to the Busted Wide Open podcast, dropping the elbow on the hottest topics in sports entertainment and the world of professional wrestling. With your hosts, Nick Howell and Sir Ian Dangerous. Coming to you from the Orbital Jigsaw Network Arena in sunny Southern California. Welcome everybody to BWO Live, coming to you from across the BWO universe of Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. This is episode number 329 of Busted Wide Open. My name is Nick Howell.
And if Eddie Kingston is a pack of Newports, then I'm a pack of Bubble Yum, cinnamon flavored naturally. I'm Sir Ian Dangerous, and yes, welcome to Busted Wide Open. It's our 4th anniversary week, Nick.
This is the
it's
big
still
show.
Going, baby. Oh
This is
yes,
it.
you may notice things are a little different in here right now. If you're watching us live on Twitch or on Facebook or on YouTube or watching us on VOD, you are noticing things are a little bit different. We have changed things up. And that, of course, being if you did not see us on our actual 4th anniversary show yesterday, which we did and was a lot of fun. I'm still kind of reeling from that, Nick. That was an intense, amazing, fun time.
I still have cricks and pains in my neck, and like I woke up this morning actually sore from clenching so hard. Ow, ow, and trying not to headbang last night.
We did a try not to headbang challenge on the show yesterday, and I too, I'm still very, very sore from attempting to not headbang. That was difficult. But a quick shout out, everybody who was there yesterday. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you to everyone who sent us in a video in that amazing 20-minute video package that JB put together for us. Thank you to JB, wherever she is right now, for doing that for us. That touched my heart, touched my soul, and that was amazing. Thank you all. Thank you to all the phenomenal ones for hanging out with us for all the time that you've been here for 4 years, man. 4 years. That is absolutely insane. And here we are, still standing.
We're still here.
Still here. Still available. We're all over the place. Linktree.com/BWOs, where you can find every way to get in touch with this show. All of our social media, all of our links. Our Patreon at patreon.com/BWO. That's there. If you want to become a patron and ask questions on the Patrons Pick'ems, the Patrons mailbag episode. If you want to be involved in the Patrons Pick'ems challenge, which is apparently what my mouth really wanted to talk about, which happens at every one of the big 4 pay-per-views. If you want to get our bonus episodes at the $10 tier, those are always fun, like yesterday's. You can do that over at patreon.com. Nick, I'm apparently doing the business for you on our 4th anniversary.
I'm just going to go watch TV. You're good.
I mean, you're sore over there. I wanted to take a little bit off your shoulders today.
I appreciate that.
Did I miss anything there, businessman?
No, you got it all. You got it all. Linktree.com/BWO. Thank you guys for all of the amazing gifted subs. Kyle Cotton is on a tear because he's going again. Gifting tier 1 subs to Sam So Special, Craig McGee, Tycor, CD Nuts. These nuts. If you got a gifted sub from Kyle Cotton, make sure you say thank you to Kyle. Thank you very much, Kyle, for all the gifted subs, man. You are on a tear. You have surpassed the 100 gifted subs mark, and that is amazing. Thank you so much, dude.
Mel D just coined the term St. Kyle, and I think I kind of dig that. St. Kyle. St. Kyle.
Indeed. Indeed.
St. Kyle. Thank you, brother.
Well, Ian, we got a lot of we've had enough fun. We've had a lot of celebrating. Unfortunately, we've got to kick things off this week with a little bit of the big news.
Lots of big news this week. In fact, we had to make a whole segment of it. Some of it you may already know because it's a couple days old, but it's still something we have to talk about, Nick. WWE fired multiple members of its staff, mostly from NXT. They fired Alexander Wolf after he was written off TV this week in an angle we'll talk about later in the show. They fired Brandi Lauren, a.k.a. Skylar Story, Jessamine Duke. Oh, we're so sad about that right here on this show. Ezra Judge, Kavita Devi, Vanessa Bourne, who just really never got a chance. Well, they called her up and then just left her kind of in Chelsea Greenland. Jake Clemens, and of course, one of the big ones, Drake Wirtz. He refereed a match this week on NXT, and then he goes, bye-bye, Drake. Apparently, he's gone down a few rabbit holes and is no longer the man he once was, according to people who used to work with him in CZW. So probably for the best that he moved on, because he was definitely on track to embarrass the company. And someone who's definitely embarrassed the company a few times, Velveteen Dream, also got future endeavored this week. He was showing up at the Performance Center at Open Ring. People were worried he was going to start becoming a coach, but I guess that is not the case. He also showed up at Raw. They thought he might be getting called up.
24 years old. Well, who is he going to coach? He doesn't know shit about shit.
24 years old, a former immense rising star, but apparently, all the whole like strange sexual allegation things aside, which if you really deep dive into it is still very much in the air as to what exactly happened there. And no charges were ever filed. Whether it's a loophole or not a loophole, it's still a matter of discussion as well. The whole thing was crazy. Beyond that, we're starting to get reports out from people backstage that he was extremely unprofessional, hard to work with, immature, had a lot of personality problems, possible substance abuse. So there's all kinds of things that are kind of still swirling around Velveteen Dream. So he's a guy that the world was at his feet. He had all sorts of possibilities. He may yet. I mean, he
had all of the legends saying that he was the next big thing.
He could be the next Shawn Michaels and totally rehab himself and come back a better man. So we'll see. Fingers crossed, because he, if things can get cleared up with him, like we always said, the guy, sky's the limit with that guy. So, but of course, that's not all the WWE news. They are running, as they announced today, and then made a point of driving home on SmackDown. They are running a 25-city tour this summer, live. They going live, Nick, starting July 16th at the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas.
H-Town.
And this tour will be running through Labor Day.
Shucky Ducky.
This is all summer. All summer this is going. Shucky Ducky, Quack Quack, starting in Booker T's backyard. Money in the Bank will be on the 18th of the Sunday after that SmackDown. So they're doing the go-home SmackDown at Money in the Bank. Then they're doing Money in the Bank on the Sunday at Dickies Arena in Fort Worth, Texas. Then they're doing Raw on Monday night, the 19th, at the American Airlines Center in Dallas.
And apparently it was advertised that Roman Reigns is going to be at that Raw.
So I read that differently. I read that Roman will be at the SmackDown. Come see Roman Reigns live. Hey, we're running 3 shows.
The tweet said, we'll be at all of them, will you? And it was a picture of Reigns and Heyman.
But it said, we'll be at all of them. That's what I'm saying. To me, that seemed like, the kind of kooky advertising where they could say, well, we didn't actually say Roman was going to be there. We said we would be
card
there.
Subject to change.
And we showed you a picture of Roman. Well, no, they didn't even show us a card.
Well,
there's a picture of Roman. We'll be there.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean the two things are the same thing. I can show you a picture of Houdini and say we'll be there. Doesn't mean Houdini's going to be there. We'll be there. WWE will be there. So, yeah.
On the other hand, I'm sitting there going,
Raw.
First house shows coming back, first WWE Lives coming back. Yeah, it's a no-brainer to wheel Roman Reigns out there.
I mean, I don't know if they do. Roman will be there. I just don't know how much, because that's kind of his gimmick now. We'll see. It could be corrected. We'll all find out that Monday Night Raw live in front of, hopefully, a sold-out arena. Texas is going to be a hopping place around that time. AEW's also running shows at that time. Dynamite's going to be at Cedar Park on the 14th and in Garland, Texas on the 21st.
Damn.
So they're also running their first few shows in Texas around that time. That's going to be a hot spot if you want to see some wrestling and be part of that party, because people are going to be, I have a feeling people are going to be lively.
Is there any news on protocols that might be being taken? Do you have to show your vaccination card? Do you have to do anything? It's Texas, so they just make up their own damn rules as they go.
I'll put it this way. California, where I am right now, on June 15th is going wide open. We actually even got the announcement today where there's going to be in bars and restaurants and in social areas, no social distancing, no capacity limits. So I can only imagine by the time we get to July, 1 month after that in Texas,
you're right,
it's going to be a free for all. So Yeah, I don't see that. I don't see any. There's no way you're going to be showing vaccination cards. That's already something people are getting sued for here. So yeah, that's not going to happen.
Sued?
But
what, like they're requiring you to see them?
Sued. Yes, and for discrimination. Yep. Oh yeah.
Boy.
It's a cottage industry, baby.
One last thing that I need to rant about a little bit. We got counter-programmed about a month ago by NXT on our Tuesday night show, and apparently we're now being counter-programmed for our Friday night show by
correct.
AEW, who is bringing their new show on, second show of the week online, AEW Rampage.
That's in August, yes. In fact, they're counter-programming us next week, too, throwing their Friday show at this very time, right after SmackDown. They're going to throw Dynamite, which is their go-home show to Double or Nothing. So they saw us going to the 4-year anniversary, doing the new graphics, and everyone's scared of BWO right now. I get it. I get it, to be fair. But yes, AEW Rampage coming to Fridays in August. Also was announced this week that AEW is moving to TBS in 2022, which is a strange move considering that they've even said they're going to keep the TNT title and call it the TNT title.
Why don't they just call it the TV title?
I don't know.
We did that for decades. It's fine.
I don't know the history of WCW on TNT, wrestling on TNT. Not like TBS doesn't have a history of wrestling. It's just hey, fine. I think at this point there's some Brody Lee love in there. That's the title he held, so they want to keep it the same name. I don't know. They don't. If they change it, the legacy. I don't know. All I know is that they're going to TBS. They're going to keep calling it the TNT Championship. A couple other quick news notes before we move on to the actual show. Will Ospreay is going to have to vacate the IWGP Heavyweight Championship due to a neck injury that he suffered in that match with Shingo Takagi at Wrestling Dontaku Night 2. Apparently, he's heading back to England for rehab. What the deal is with his Rev Pro title is still up in the air. They're going to announce that within the next week or two once they have a better diagnosis for Will Ospreay's condition. We haven't even been told what kind of neck injury, but given how the man works, it could be anything. But this is a guy who's survived some nasty stuff in the past, and it's crazy this one is so bad he's actually got to relinquish the title. But they have a lot to do, and they've got some big programs coming up in Japan. If he can't work them, I understand why they want to vacate it. But it's just too bad because it's we had Ospreay versus Okada in the Dome, and now none of us get that. Okada doesn't get it. Ospreay doesn't get it. We don't get it. It's a tragedy.
Cue up Kenny.
Very sad. Yeah, and finally, a little bit of Impact spoilers. Speaking of New Japan stuff, in Impact, FinJuice was your tag team champions. They got upset this week's Impact. They're no longer. They got Violent by Design cashed in their contract and said, we want a match right now. Rhino and Joe Doring are your new Impact tag team champions.
Damn.
That's interesting, right? We're getting a lot of reports out from New Japan that foreign talent are frustrated with New Japan's COVID policies, with Japan's COVID policies, quarantining, and the rest of it. I wonder if FinJuice fits into that. We've heard Finley talk recently about how David Finley was talking about his potential future in wrestling. So I'm wondering if that's all connected. But just reporting on the fact that is all out there right now. But yeah, lots that happened this week, Nick. And not even just in the news, Nick, because we have a whole show still to get to. We've got to talk about AEW, and they're a week away from going home to Double or Nothing, so they were setting that whole card
That's
up
going to be a monster
this
show.
week. Oh, my God, they've got some good matches for that show. We have NXT, who had a massive North American Championship match in a steel cage. And then, of course, we also had the show we just all watched, Friday Night Smackdown.
Oh, well, we start at the end and work our way up. The Intercontinental Championship saw a defense in a fatal four-way match tonight between Sami Zayn, Big E, Kevin Owens, and, of course, the champion, Apollo Crews. Alongside Commander Aziz.
Commander Aziz. Apollo forever. I can't with the gimmick.
I got to do one call out before we get to this. Kyle threw in 100 bits, said the last big show before the pandemic was in Houston for the Royal Rumble, and now we go full circle with the return to Houston. It's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. I forgot it was in Houston. Thank you, Kyle.
Yeah, the big one. Yeah, no, it's a nice, somewhat irony, somewhat beautiful,
it's a bit poetic. Yeah.
Yes, Exactly.
We started where we ended.
Almost like how the poetry of this match was Big E finally getting his hands on Apollo Crews at the end of, Nick, what we can only describe as a pay-per-view quality match on a week after a pay-per-view where it probably wasn't on the pay-per-view because it would have stolen the damn show.
It would
have. But then again, I think the ending of this might have told us why they didn't want to do it at the pay-per-view, because at the end, Commander Aziz got his hands on firstly, who did he grab first? He grabbed Kevin Owens.
Well, he pulled Big E off of Apollo Crews in a pinning predicament just to get him outside the ring. And then the lights went all white, and I was like, did a cameraman fall over or something? No.
Did the Fiend change his stripes? No.
Just everything's filled with fog and smoke.
Yeah. And out comes Aleister Black? Nani? Aleister Black comes out now with one blue eye, looking like he's gotten in pretty good shape. He's even more toned up than he was. Got in the ring. Black mass to Big E. Apollo rolls him up 1, 2, 3 and retains his championship after, this was a 3-segment match, Nick. It would be most of our show to try to describe everything that happened in this match. I'll just put it this way. Go watch the damn thing. It's one of the best SmackDown matches in a long time. It was goddamn-tastic. The only downside was the shmush ending.
Yeah.
And that might be why they didn't want to do it on the pay-per-view, because everything else was pay-per-view caliber.
So so are we looking at Big E since he came out and kicked Big E? Are we looking at Aleister Black versus Big E in a feud? Sammy and KO go off and do their thing that they do magically and beautifully every time?
Maybe. That's what, Kevin and Sammy came in with a feud. They can come out with a feud. Apollo and Big E have been feuding for a while. This could put that to rest, and Big E, turns to face Aleister. But in my world, after all the work they've been doing on Aleister, including this week where they showed chapter 4 of his little backstage sermons that his father taught him, apparently. And it's all about how he got his tattoos and how they're an expression of pain that you have to endure. Otherwise, you're some sort of idiot sitting on their couch at home, because, that's just how heels operate. This, after all of that, to have him come out and face a guy who should be built as being a big dominant dude in Big E, I would imagine you'd want to have Aleister come out and look like a killer.
Yeah.
Now, he did come out and murder Big E this week, but if you're going to go and continuously have a feud between Aleister Black and Big E, one of these guys is going to have to eat pins. Otherwise, you're going to get 50-50 booking, and they're both going to look bad at a time when they both should be looking good. So I do question having an Aleister Black Big E feud. Now, Nick, what would you think if this was a one-off and Aleister is just coming out to assassinate dudes?
I wouldn't mind that at all.
Just in general.
I wouldn't mind that at all. I have a hunch we might be flipping the title back to Big E so that he and Aleister can feud for it.
I'm not seeing that. This felt like Apollo getting the win and then he moves on to me. It was a very strange booking decision, and it's one that makes me nervous. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Are they just gonna? Are they done with Big E at this point, and they're gonna feed him to Aleister?
I don't think that either. That's the thing is, I feel like they are behind Big E. I truly
he's
do
getting
feel
those
behind Big E
backstage segments. He had one with Kayla before the match.
I feel like they're behind both guys, but this is putting the both guys in a situation where it's going to be really easy to make one of them not look as good as they should be looking at this time in their careers.
The scary part
with being built.
It's Aleister.
Yeah.
That's the scary part.
At least he's back. I'm curious to see what other new things they have planned for him, besides the new eye and the father's book gimmick. Is his entrance going to be the same? Is his music going to be the same? What else do we have with Aleister?
Yeah.
So we did leave SmackDown with some interesting questions, but I'm not going to lie, Nick. I left pretty nervous.
Same.
After that ending segment.
Kyle threw in 100 bits, said Black isn't likely winning that feud with E, but at least it's not Kevin Owens again, even though that would make sense as an establishing feud.
Right, but Kevin Owens is firmly a face now, even though he and Big E have history, and I like the fact that they're never making Kevin Owens a full-on 100% face. He still admits what he is and what he was. I'm not always a good guy, but right now I'm a good guy.
Yeah.
But Aleister's coming out as a straight up heel.
Yeah, it looked like it.
Every one of those segments where he's talking in the back, in the candlelit room, he's dissing the fans at some point.
Yep.
Only heels do that in WWE.
It's Mel D threw in 100 bits. Thank you, Mel. As a fan of his, I'm just concerned that we're going to get a repeat of what happened on Raw for Aleister Black.
Mel, as a fan of him myself, I first of all, I cheers you. And second of all, I am always worried about how they handle Aleister Black, and usually with good reason.
It's perpetual fear.
It's perpetual fear ever since he got called up, because it's been a constant parade of, oh my God, what are you doing? This should be a home run.
Yeah.
It's just on a platter for you, and you keep bumbling the platter.
Are you still feeling that it's Bray Wyatt 2.0? Swamp Bray?
It's still a little, it's a little Swamp Brayish, and I'm not convinced that they're not going to treat him the same way. So, but speaking of bobbling silver platters, the show tonight, Nick, was laid out for us on a silver platter at the top with a whole bunch of gold. Gold being held by their champions, that is, at the top of the ramp.
I like how they did this.
Tag team champions. You know what? This was a fresh start to the show, or at least it started that way. We had the Mysterios, your new tag team champions. We had Bianca Belair. We had Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz standing there with his Intercontinental title, which he was making out with over and over. And then, of course, at the end, you had the new Smackdown, the new tag champions, the women's tag champions, Natalya and Tamina, looking very, very pleased with themselves, as they should. And Sonya Deville in the ring, saying, hey, we thought because we're going to, go back in front of crowds again, we would do a Parade of Champions to show you all the people that worked the hardest throughout this pandemic. I thought when she started saying that, I'm like, they're going to show us the crew? They're going to show us all the people that have been running all the lights and all the Titantrons and everything this entire time? No. We're showing our champions. And at the end of this, of course, she said, he introduces all our champions. And at the end, she says, and here is our main champion, Roman Reigns. And out comes Paul Heyman to Roman Reigns' old music, which I thought was a nice touch. Paul Heyman even gets Roman's hand-me-downs. Cute. Out comes Paul Heyman to say, no, this is cute. This is a lineup of title holders. There's only one champion. His name is Roman Reigns, and he comes out when he damn well feels like it. K-bye.
Yeah.
Heyman out. And he takes off. Sonya then gets interrupted by Bayley, who jumps in the ring and says, none of these are actual champions like I was when I held the title for 300 and however many days and was a double champ and all the rest of it. Ran down Bianca Belair until Bianca starts walking down the ramp to meet her, gets jumped by Bayley and Shayna and Nia, who jumped Natty and Tamina. It all breaks down into what else, Nick? A 6-woman tag match to open the show. So, did you like the way that they started the show with kind of everything being a little bit surprising and new and it being a 6-woman tag match, or did you find that was a little bit annoying? Did you not like the way that they presented this?
No, I hated it before WrestleMania, and I hate it now. They're going back to what they were doing before by tying up the women's championship into the tag team championships. Stop doing this. Just have tag team matches. It's okay. You're allowed to do that.
It's all the champions, though, Nick. It's all the champions.
I don't care. Roll the champions out for us at the top of the ramp for Sonya to announce we're coming back to WWE Live. We're bringing house shows back. We're going to be live again. Fantastic. I applaud that. What a great opening curtain. I loved the fact that they did that. And then you have some of the interactions with all the other stuff. But don't just go right into like a 6-woman tag match with the women's champion and the tag team champions just all mixed up again. This is what we hated before WrestleMania. We derided this constantly before we got to WrestleMania because they were doing it on both shows.
It's funny because I agree in theory with you in that, like, the idea of just having a 6-woman tag match for no real reason is, I think, lazy booking. Here, though, they did actually make effort to make having the match make sense. It just was a bit convoluted and silly how they got there, and then the match itself didn't really have a purpose or a meaning, other than Shayna Baszler did ultimately tap out Natalya at the end, which means that now on Monday, we're going to see a rematch of Nia and Shayna versus Natalya and Tamina on Monday Night Raw, which last I checked is let's see. Shayna and Nia are Raw superstars. So basically the tag champs are coming to Raw to face them. The bottom line is that was the reason for this match. Ultimately, they did get there in a kind of new, fresh way. So I like the fact that they're at least trying, Nick. Looking at this positively, they were at least trying something new, and having Sonya in the ring and announce all that felt fresh. Bayley's promo was pretty good.
Yeah.
It made her feel more relevant than she's felt in months.
I agree with that.
That's the good stuff here. So
and frankly, I liked that Bianca came straight down and go, "You want this? All right.
Yeah, let's
I'm
go.
a fighting champ. Let's do it."
Fighting champ. Yep. And I like that. I like after a pay-per-view, you put the champs on their heels, so to speak. You knock them back a bit and say, okay, well, you're going to have a hard time making it to the next one. If they're faces, I should say. Face champions, knock them back a bit and say they have a challenge now. They can't just, celebrate and reign high on their pedestal. They're going to get down there and get dirty with everyone who's coming for them. I dug that aspect of it.
Yeah.
But I also dug, Nick, later in the show, of course, on his time, Roman Reigns came out to the ring to his new music and asked Paul Heyman, he said, look, I'm a humble man. I'm not going to talk myself up. That's what Paul's for.
Right.
Paul, tell them how great I am. And Paul Heyman runs down all the things Roman's done since he's come back as a heel, scaring off The Fiend, beating down, knocking out Kevin Owens, retiring Daniel Bryan, sending Edge off to who knows where, pinning him and stacking him and pinning him at WrestleMania. Just runs it all down. And then says, there you go, Roman, how's that? And Roman goes, no, it's not bad. And Paul goes, is there anything else I can do for you? And Roman goes, bring me my cousin.
Yeah.
Paul goes, get Jimmy Uso out here.
Bring me
James
James
right there.
Uso.
These are right him.
Jimmy Uso.
James,
now, idiot.
But we don't get James Uso. We get Cesaro, arm in a sling after having it nearly torn off of his body at Backlash last weekend. Selling the arm. Nicely done. Comes out and says, I'm not Jimmy Uso, but I'm not done with you yet, Roman. And Roman says, what are you going to do? Fight me with one arm? And Cesaro says, I would fight you with no arms while you sit up there and cower behind your advocate or whatever he is. Nice from Cesaro.
Nice Monty Python reference.
Yes, this arm, this is but a flesh
Merely
wound.
a flesh wound. And then you got the Knight just is like kicking him.
Adorable. How about you? Come on then. But Cesaro doesn't get the chance because out comes Drip Drip Seth Rollins to attack him and beat the unholy hell out of Cesaro, Nick. Dear God, he laid a beating on, threw him into the stairs, tossed him into every one of the barricades, ripped off the sling, gave him not one, not two, I believe 3 total, and one on the metal stair or metal ramp, 3 curb stomps, 2 or 3. It gave him a lot. He just kept running back in. I love the added touch that Jamie Noble was the one telling him, no, Seth, don't go back in there. I'm like, you were one of his goons, Noble. You know better than anyone how this goes down. And then he even attacked Cesaro on his way getting carted out to the hospital with a neck brace on. So Seth's lost his damn mind when it comes to Cesaro.
He had the big crazy eyes going, too.
He did. He was all hyperventilating. So, Nick, this is interesting. Roman's saying he's untouchable, which he kind of is. He's blowing off Cesaro again. He's like, I beat you. I don't need to beat you again. And Seth wants nothing more than to tear Cesaro limb from limb. You know, our next pay-per-view is called Hell in a Cell. Now, Cesaro challenged Roman Reigns to Hell in a Cell, and Roman blew him off, and that's when Seth attacked. So who gets who at Hell in a Cell? Who's in a cell?
I can't.
Because Seth and Cesaro, that was heating up pretty bad.
I can't stop my gut from saying this ends at some point with Rollins and Reigns. I don't know how I'm going to get there. I don't know how they're going to get us there, but there's a reason they're bringing Seth out to there's a reason that Cesaro is kind of the pivot guy here, and Seth is somehow doing this. Excuse me. I think I'm getting sick, guys. Excuse me.
Oh, no.
You've got Reigns on one side, you got Rollins on the other, and at some point, one's going to kick the other one inadvertently. And Seth's going to end up fighting Jey Uso and ultimately getting to... I don't know how we're going to get there. I don't know when this is going to happen. I can't stop feeling like this is... It feels inevitable at some point.
I wonder if it's where they're waiting for the crowds to come back.
Maybe.
so that Rollins can play to the crowds.
The other thing I was thinking about this was Heyman was just, all but rimming him, going over all of his stuff, right? Just completely oh my God, you're the best, you're amazing, you're so amazing. What better time, other than when the crowds come back, would there have been to hit Brock Lesnar's music?
Oh, stop it.
I'm serious.
That's fine. But
we know that that's probably Final Boss at some point, maybe WrestleMania next year.
Maybe. Here's the thing. There is a lot that we don't know about the situation with Brock.
Sure.
The only thing that we know is that man ain't coming back unless it's for a lot of money. We also know Vince is very, very likely to spend that money on him.
For this, yes.
It's also speculated that he's not coming back until this whole pandemic thing dies down. It's also speculated he might never come back. And that's from sources
I'm
who
speculating
are
that
on
he's
the
going
inside.
to, and it would be amazing for a surprise return in one of these kinds of moments.
Yes, here's the thing, though. I never sit there and go, this is when it would be good for X to happen, when there's so many other things involved. There's so many other ephemerals involved in what it would take for that to happen.
You don't feel like there's unfinished business there between those two?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. At some point, a feud between Brock and Roman would be great. What else would be great? A feud between Moxley and Roman.
Sure.
But yes. Is it unfinished business? Is it something that would make a great story? Yes. Does that mean it's going to happen? No. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I'm not crossing a bridge in Austria when I'm sitting here in America. You know what I mean? That's way far off. I've got to at least take a couple of flights before I can talk about crossing that bridge.
Okay. It's not Walter. He's in like Minnesota or something.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's in like Saskatchewan.
Right.
So
I mean, we don't even count Minnesota. That's basically Canada anyway.
I think he's actually in Canada.
Oh, okay.
At this point. But yeah, so we'll see if this breaks down to Cesaro and Roman or Cesaro and Seth or a triple threat, as you're suggesting.
Yeah. I do think something happens where we end up in a triple threat because of this, and that ultimately lands us on that. Kyle Throna Under Bit said, I'm just here wondering why we're still dealing with all shows Nia when her hall pass is gone and the brand-to-brand invitation was used for Corbin last month. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see if she gets that title back on Monday, and it was just a complete gimme to Natty and Tamina. Yeah. Can you imagine how insulting that would be? Just a complete, like...
I wouldn't put it past
That's
them.
Cute. That's cute, girls. Here are your titles. Okay, go back and play in catering.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service. We're going to go back to Nia and Tamina now. Or Nia and Shayna now. Yeah, that'd be brutal. But yeah, we'll see if they continue the Nia Hall pass if she loses this coming Monday.
Kyle Thorne, another 100 bit, said Brock to me can't play face. With Roman, I just can't see that working. It would feel very Mania 20 Lesnar and Goldberg. I don't know. You got Heyman there, and there's connective tissue there. There's history there. I think it could work. And it doesn't necessarily have to be Brock working heel. It's blood feud. It's a vendetta. He doesn't have to be working face. At this point with those two, there's enough history and lore, and with Heyman in the middle, like it just makes it super interesting.
He would be the face to Roman's heel in that scenario.
Sure.
And Brock could absolutely play face. If you look at some of the times that he just comes in and destroys shit, people love it when he does that. It would be like a tweener face, like a Stone Cold, or even arguably like a Moxley sometimes, where there's just a force of destruction. People love that. And what was the one WrestleMania that he lost the title? He came back and just like F5 Michael Cole, and he was immediately a face for like a week or whatever. He was suspended for like a month. And when he came back, people wanted to cheer him. They had to like work to make him a heel again because everyone loved him just tearing everything apart. So yeah, he doesn't have to go out there and be 2018 Johnny Gargano. He can right. Go out there and just tear shit up, and he'll get over it. So, but all the rest of the show we got to get to. Baron Corbin is currently crownless because Shinsuke Nakamura stole it from him after losing in a match last week. Apparently, Shinsuke Nakamura has been wearing it all week, which is adorable.
All over Instagram. It's hilarious.
He's having lots of fun with that. And apparently they decided that fun was going to be Shinsuke's new middle name, because this week out comes Corbin without his crown to challenge Shinsuke Nakamura again. And who should come out? Not Shinsuke, but Rick Boogs. Rick Boogenhagen. Nick, finally happening.
Finally!
The electrified Elias has come
Right.
out to play Shinsuke Nakamura to the ring as best he can. And, let's put it this way. His personality is more electrified than his electric guitar playing. Doesn't matter. He can play that one line in Shinsuke Nakamura's song. That's all that matters. So it gives Shinsuke even more electricity coming out. Comes out to the ring. Shinsuke beats Baron Corbin. And then he gets played out by Boogs again. And Boogs the entire time is ringside rocking out. You had Pat McAfee losing his goddamn mind and air guitaring in Michael Cole's face over at the announce table, which, Nick, it was so good.
Yes.
I loved it so much.
If you had told me a year ago Pat McAfee would be one of the best things on commentary in a long time alongside Michael Cole, I would have told you, you're crazy as hell. There's no way. And I absolutely love it.
If I were to grade SmackDown every week, if I were to give it like a letter grade every week, it would automatically go up by a point. It would go from like a minus to a full or a full to a plus just because Pat McAfee commentary. Yeah. Every week.
It's fantastic.
Every week so far, he's killing it. Entertaining. Making me more invested. Making the wrestlers sound better. Making them seem more interesting. Making the matches seem more interesting.
I love him saying, Michael Cole. Every time.
I love him standing up. He can't stay sitting down. Right. He's like a big kid. He's wonderful. He made this whole thing a lot better. What do you think about the future here? So we had speculated they might be bringing back King of the Ring. They talked a lot in this match about how Nakamura hadn't, quote unquote, earned the crown, but that Corbin had. Now, obviously, if they were going to do King of the Ring, it wouldn't be until likely September, just because of the way their pay-per-views are timing out.
July's Money in the Bank. August is SummerSlam. It'd have to be September.
That's a long time to push this off and run this feud. So that's why I'm wondering if they're
a bit early.
If they're trying to make this. Yeah, I'm wondering how long they're going to push this back, or if they do King of the Ring on the weekly shows.
That's possible because September's usually Clash of Champions.
But they could switch that up. It's one of the ones they switch up.
Yeah.
So they could easily do
October's
the King
an
of the Ring
open
tournament
slot now.
And just have the finals at the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So that's possible.
Interesting. Kyle throwing 100 bits said, Nakamura's rebuild has me fanboying like crazy. I was headbanging to Boog's guitar playing. I was that hyped.
That's what I'm saying, man. Boogs, if you want people to get hype about Nakamura again, you throw Boogs next to him. That's a brilliant goddamn idea.
Also, he's a face with that entrance again, with crowds coming back in a couple months.
Yes. You're reminding people of that entrance, how sick that entrance is. You bring those crowds back and you have Boogs and Nakamura there. That's Nakamura is instantly back on the map. Whoever put this together, give him a raise.
Yep.
Brilliant. This was you, Vince. God damn it, you old crazy bastard.
And thank you for finally putting Boogs on the roster. Somewhere off in the distance, Adam Cleary was shitting himself. Hashtag Boog Watch.
Boogs Watch is finally happened. Yes.
Let's see. Andy threw in 100 bits. Thank you, sir. Said last time it was done, King of the Ring matches were done on TV, and the final slated for SummerSlam, but moved to Raw.
Right? Exactly. That's when Corbin won it. So there you go. Yeah, they could be doing the same thing again, where maybe it happens at SummerSlam, maybe it happens on the Raw after. Hopefully not. Hopefully they actually keep some of the prestige there. But
we did get a little. We did get a little bit of the away. At the beginning too from Boogs.
Oh yes. So yes. Thank you for imitating it. I now have one ear.
I still have one ear from last night, so it's fine.
I know exactly what you're talking about too. And finally, another rematch: Mysterios versus Dirty Dogs. Again, that feud is not done. Maybe it is now because you had Robert Roode getting in the ring.
Please let Roode cut more promos. I miss it. When he was cutting this promo, I instantly was transported back to him as NXT champion.
Yes. One of your favorite Deal Hicks.
That's even better. Deal Hicks.
In a suit. Deal Hicks. Sounds like a bad used car lot. But no, heel Dick in a suit. Dick heel in a suit. That was one of your favorites. Was Robert Roode in NXT. And he's still a Dick heel. He just doesn't have a suit right now. But he was facing off against Dominic Mysterio and lost pretty quickly to a frog splash. So I would assume, Nick, that means that feud is donezo.
Hope so.
Because elsewhere in the show, we had Jimmy Uso going to Sonya Deville and getting a tag match between the Usos and the Street Profits set up for next week. You had Roman giving Jay shit for having Jimmy go and make this match and to tell him that, I'm your partner, not him. So a little bit of shenaniganry going on there. Street Profits are back involved in everything. And, of course, somewhere out there, poor American Alpha Academy are languishing. So you have prophesized Usos eventually going for the Mysterios for the championships. Yep. Is this the beginning of that? Are they blowing off the Dirty Dogs here just as a way to kind of just put the capper on it and move on? Or will there be more Dirty Dogs Mysterios until the Uso drama has settled and then they can get called up to do it?
I don't know. I have no idea what the hell Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, and Jimmy Uso are going to do, and I absolutely love that.
That's pretty wonderful.
The fact that I can't see anything coming is rare, and I love that. I do like the idea of the Usos going and just absolutely destroying the Mysterios, just to make it, just have a statement win like that, and the Usos are back. Then we can start having Usos Street Profit. Like, we're gonna get a Street Profits Usos match, right?
Yeah,
we're gonna see what that looks like. We all kind of we're. Oh my God, I want that.
The Street Profits imitation of the Usos was pretty hilariously spot on as well. This is the time I'm going to call something out here, and it kind of goes both ways. On one hand, I've come here to praise Caesar. On the other hand, I'm going to come here to bury Caesar. And as Roman Reigns about this time last year said, everyone was complaining about the Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio feud, and Roman says, "Look, man, if y'all are fast food fans that don't watch our product, we cook steaks around here, and it takes a lot longer for that to happen."
Okay.
That was in the middle of the Seth Rollins Rey Mysterio feud, which is still one of the worst feuds I've seen in the last decade. It just went on for goddamn ever, and as good as everyone was in it, as good as like some of the matches were, it was just one of those ones where it just never ended, never went anywhere. It was every example of things that I hate about WWE writing.
I mean, there was Lashley Lana,
but
and Rusev.
At least that was like crazy. You couldn't believe what you were seeing. Stupid. Whereas, like, I guess the dumbest thing that happened in the Rey Mysterio feud was the eye versus eye.
Of course.
Which
they'll never live that down.
Stupid. They'll never live that down, nor should they. But maybe, so I'm going to say Roman was full of absolute crap still about the product at the time. But if he's referring to this current plot, like his own plot line with him and the Usos and how they're slowly laying it out, slowly bringing it out, I really have no idea what the next beats will be. Everyone in it is doing superlative acting and presentation. He's absolutely cooking a steak.
Oh, totally.
The Roman Usos and everything around them is a goddamn filet mignon, medium rare with some nice peppercorn sauce on top. It's incredible.
Yummy. I can't wait.
I just actually started.
I really want to see the Usos strapped behind Roman Reigns. I want to see Jimmy get over whatever. Jay went through this exact same stuff. They ended up having matches. I assume we probably have to have some kind of challenge for authority between Roman and Jimmy as well. There's going to be this consternation between for Jay. He's going to be stuck in the middle and being pulled in both directions. We're going to go through that over the next few weeks.
I don't know. I kind of feel like this is becoming a mommy and daddy story where you've got Jey Uso as the kind of the he's the kid of a broken home.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I mean, I've always enjoyed being with mommy before, but daddy going to beat me if I go over to mom's house now. You know what I mean? Like I dig what they're doing with it. I'm very curious to see where they're going with it.
Well, that was it for that was it for SmackDown. I had my words backwards there. That was it for SmackDown, guys. Lots more wrestling to go as we head over and talk about what went down, the madness that went down over on NXT.
Johnny Gargano versus Bronson Reed in a steel cage. That's all you had to tell me to get me to watch NXT this week.
Whoo.
And I'll be damned if it wasn't every reason to watch NXT this week. It was just as good as you can imagine it would be. It was a nice long match. They did a nice overrun on it, so we got to see all of it. Nick, what did you think? We had a little bit of Austin Theory interference. It backfired. Bronson Reed with a big tsunami off the top, on to Johnny Gargano. 1, 2, 3. Bronson Reed is your new North American champion. Celebrates in the ring with his wife as the sparklers go off, and he celebrates for the show to go off the air. What did you think of this match? What did you think of the whole build, how we got here, and where do we go from here?
There's a lot to break down here because there was a lot of stuff throughout the show that was setting up other things around the way. But the match itself, absolutely brilliant. Loved it. Do I think they'll do it again? I don't know. Is this going to be the blow off? Does Johnny just go away? I don't think so. I
don't know.
We'll see. They've had several matches at this point, so this should be the blow off. Listen, we've been following Jonah Rock as fans for a long time. The colossal Bronson Reed now. Yes. I am so happy for that dude. We saw the emotion for him at the end of the match as they lifted the cage. We saw this be an absolute coronation and celebration for him, and to know his story and all of the trials and tribulations he's gone through to get where he is, being a bigger boy like that, like it's tough to hold it in, right? It's you're kind of going. So yeah, I thought the match was brilliant. I loved the big tsunami. Austin Theory interference ultimately backfiring, and they got the one hit on him as Bronson made his way for the door. And Austin Theory went for the door, and the ref ran him off. So, perfect cage match, in my opinion. Absolutely loved it. Johnny immediately from the get-go trying to escape, being just dastardly and squirrely and trying to get away from him. And for a moment, you're like, oh, shit, this could be over in a heartbeat if Bronson's not careful. But no, I loved it. I usually do a ritual when I play back the shows, or at least highlight matches and stuff like that after our Friday night show here. So this is definitely on the queue to go back and watch again.
Yeah, and honestly, like, not only that, I love the fact that Johnny was, as you say, typically with cage matches, I don't like when the point is someone's trying to escape. This is one where logically it made sense for Johnny, like, Bronson wanted him to be trapped in there with him. And that's the point of a cage match, trapped in a cage with somebody. That's the point. So when the point of Johnny trying to escape was, I don't want to be in here with this madman because he's going to destroy me. Great, that's good cage match logic, stuff. And then it makes for a very fun story when he finally has to match up with Bronson Reed. And so as a result, Johnny's jumping all over the place like some sort of crazy Sumatran rat monkey. And so here we have Bronson Reed finally get a hold. Yes, it's
okay. Is that really a
trust
thing?
Trust me, if you know, you know. But ultimately, you find out that Bronson Reed does get his hands on him. Johnny can't escape no matter what Austin Theory tries to do, and he wins. And that is considering the build to this match. This was the right way to do it. I don't know about the right time. Definitely, I think it'd be better to do it at a takeover. But at the end of the day, it was a great main event for an NXT, and it felt like a big deal. But move on. We've seen so much of Bronson Reed and Johnny Gargano at this point. I think it's the right thing to move on now because there are so many people in that mid card of NXT that could be going for this championship and could be facing Bronson Reed. So many people. We talked about it. We had a whole 6-person eliminator match to get to this point and there's more people than that. So I think, have Johnny move on. I don't know where he goes. NXT is packed right now. So I don't know how Johnny moves on, but definitely move him on from the North American Championship.
Yeah. And could you see Swerve moving in on the North American against Bronson?
Swerve said he was gonna. Yeah. We had a squash match later in the show where out came Swerve and his whole new crew.
Hit row.
AJ Francis and Ashanti the Adonis came out and they destroyed poor Tony Nese and Arya Davari. Destroyed him. Wrecked him. And then afterwards, Swerve's like, that's right. Heat rises. And guess what? I'm going to go for the North American Championship. So with Bronson Reed now as the champ, bring it on.
Yep.
Hit row, all going for Bronson Reed at once. That sounds like a great time. Yep. So I'm in for that.
And him being a big boy, being able to fend them all off, that makes it even more interesting. They're going to have to put him down hard to get the title off him.
I also like the sweet irony of the way finally accomplishing their prophecy of Johnny and Candice being husband and wife champs. And then the week later, they lose the championship. That's beautiful. Yeah. And you had Candice and Indy getting, they were in a spa, and they were saying, this is what you get as champions. You go to a spa and get nice treatments. And they don't they're talking about how awful Dexter Lumis is. They don't realize that Dexter's actually giving Indy a massage. So she's insulting him.
As a matter of fact.
Well, careful, Nick. He was like a cucumber facial.
Right. With the little mummy wrap things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. He was putting a spa facial onto Indy Hartwell. Let's be careful about our words here. But he got very sad and he left.
What you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about either.
It's called a facial.
Okay, moving on. All right. Moving on. Quickly. Ultimately, at the end, Indy realizes because the credit card declines and they ask him about the flowers that were bought a few weeks ago. Indy goes, wait a minute, you bought those flowers. That means you were tricking me all along. And Dexter really loves me. Yay. She runs off. So we're going to get more of this index nonsense. Is this a good thing for the way to go back to the comedy stuff and get off of the title picture?
Yeah.
We found we also saw that there's going to be a number one contenders match for the tag team championships next week with Shotzi and Ember coming back at Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai again. There's only seems to be 3 teams. Aren't there other women's tag teams, Nick? Yeah. I know there's a couple. There's Aaliyah and Jessie Kamea at least.
No one at the caliber of where we're at right now, though, with Shotzi and Ember and the way and like Indy has been killing it. She's gotten a great opportunity getting paired up with the Garganos in this whole thing, and now she's got a side gimmick going with Dexter Lumis. So she's killing it right now.
I agree, and that there's a lot for the way to do that's not in the North American title picture. Sure. I think there's tons that they could do.
Does Johnny step aside, and does Austin step up, and does he start getting some opportunities now?
That's kind of what I'm wondering, is if it's time for Austin to get more shine, if it's time to let's have Candice and Indy win, continue to win and stay the tag champs, and then more focus on that and have the way kind of move over into that picture as opposed to being in the North American Championship picture and the tag title picture.
Andy gifted a tier 1 sub to Xanadu. 7777777. Thank you very much, Andy. Xanadu, make sure you thank Andy for that gifted sub. Kyle Cotton threw in 100 bits, said, to paraphrase the Macho Man, Brunson is ready. Sorry, Gargano and Reed. Just on optics is very Bonesaw and Spider-Man looking in a cage. Just a different result. My bet, given the layered booking they've done since the move. Gargano versus Cross and Swerve versus Reed at TakeOver History. TakeOver History? History for both in terms of build. Yeah.
Gargano versus Cross
will just be a murder.
It's going to be, he's going to die. They're going to kill that boy. They're going to kill him.
As soon as he's done with Finn.
Mm-hmm. Which is coming up next week. But this week we had Cameron Grimes trying to park his Rolls Royce. He tried to get Jake Atlas to do it for him, and Jake said, no, I'm not parking it there. That's Ted DiBiase has that spot reserved. Grimes, of course, being like, DiBiase!
Goddamn Ted DiBiase!
Well, Jake Atlas, just because you're here and you're being rude to me, I'm going to fight you tonight. And Jake goes, cool. All right, I'll see you in the ring. And they did. They saw each other in the ring later in the show. But, of course, what should happen after a very nice little match? But Ted DiBiase comes in to interfere and distract Cameron Grimes, who gets rolled up in 1, 2, 3, ends up losing. And afterwards, DiBiase laughs at him. Cameron Grimes stumbles outside. DiBiase's in his limo, and he goes, almost, kid, but you're no $1 million man. And speeds off. And Cameron Grimes is left to go, damn you, DiBiase. So we were supposed to have them confront each other this week, according to what was promoted. Now it's being promoted. Next week, we're actually getting them to actually face off. So this continues to roll. Are you still having fun with this, Nick?
I mean, as popcorn fodder, yeah, it's fun.
Okay.
I thought Cameron Grimes was doing fine on his own. I don't know if I'm kind of 50-50 on DiBiase being back. I don't know how to feel about it.
I'm not mad at it. I feel like we're starting to run in circles. So I see them building it, right? First, DiBiase's screwing him from a distance. Then he's screwing him like in the same place at the same time. Yeah. Then he's coming to the Performance Center and screwing him in matches. And then next week we get a face-to-face. I see how they're building it. I just feel like some of it's become redundant. They maybe should have shortened this whole thing by a week or two. Is my feel.
Don't make it a competition. Make DiBiase coach him. Make DiBiase kind of a manager of sorts.
And maybe that's where we're getting to in the end. DiBiase's going to, break him down and then show him the error of his ways. And this is how you become $1 million man, which is what I agree. I think that's where they should go with it. And that's, again, it's running a little long for my taste. I can see how, some people be like, it's fine. Yeah. It's not that big of a deal. But if that's where we end up, I think that's the right decision as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's how you make Cameron better in the end. But speaking of things that are better,
I've been waiting for this the whole show.
Oh, I know you have.
Oh my God!
Give Nick Toni Storm. It's Toni. Storm. It's that time, baby. Toni Storm opened the show against Zoey Stark. They've had a feud going for a while. Zoey upset her a little while back at a takeover.
Talk about a fight forever feud. Please just let these two women just fight forever.
They are fantastic together. They really are. They're really good. And they are really pushing Zoey too, where she took Toni to the limit here, where Toni actually busted out Storm Zero, and Zoey kicked out of the damn thing.
Ain't many women in the world that can say that. Rhea's one of them. Piper's one of them.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I can think of.
I think Raquel might have. That's still, it's not many. It's very few, and certainly not someone who's relatively as early in their career as Zoey Stark. So it was a big deal. But Toni still had Zoey's number. Zoey was still woozy from the Storm Zero. And Toni busted out a new finisher where she basically she kind of slung Zoey over her back while hooking an arm, pulled her over into a DDT. It was actually technically the move is called a Ruby Cutter.
Yeah.
And it was first introduced by Too Extreme Dean Allmark. You may have seen in TNA or over in Britain if you're a British wrestling fan. He was Toni's trainer, and he actually did give her the okay to go ahead and use that as her finisher. So I got to say, Nick, that's a finisher that you can really go a long way with. That particular wrench move over the back, you can do with much bigger people than yourself. Yeah. So
it's almost like a judo throw, hip throw, and a hip toss in a way.
Exactly. And then a DDT you can do to anybody. Yeah. It's brilliant. Yeah. What a great, and it looks crazy. It looks cool. What a great.
I was rewinding, going frame by frame, like, okay, she almost like Uranagi's her, but she pulls her up on her hip and then rolls her around and then flips herself around down into like a DDT. I believe it's called a dead chicken when you pull them over like that. But it's the bottom line is that Storm Zero always looked a little soft. Yeah.
It didn't ever quite have the impact that a real finisher should have. This looks cool. We still don't know her name for it, but at the same time,
Sheriff McDonald is going to throw a fit if they don't call it Stormbreaker. She's got Storm Zero. This one's Stormbreaker. But I guess Will Ospreay's already got a Stormbreaker.
Yeah, I'm about to say I'm going to send Ospreay to his house to talk to him about that.
Yeah.
Ospreay's already got that. And also, you can't really use there's a storm coming because, Hurricane Helms will have something to say about that. Yes.
Oh, you're talking about Helms. Okay, never mind.
I'm talking about Helms, not Juice Robinson. Come on. All right. So now, at the end of all this, though, Toni does pick up the win here. Who should come out to the top of the ramp? Frankie Monet. And starts making out with her dog. And apparently she's debuting again next week. That'll be like the third debut next week. Apparently it's going to finally be in ring. But who does she face, Nick? Who is your guess for who Frankie Monet faces next week?
Who did she bring the dog into the boardroom with last week? Who was that? I can't remember who it was.
Let's see if I wrote it down.
Was it Aew? It was Aew Shirai.
That was a little while ago.
Doing the interview or something. Ago. The dog came running in and jumped up on the things and peed on something. I don't know.
That's correct. Yeah, that was the last time we saw Aew Shirai.
Mel says Aew. Okay.
But I don't think that's who Frankie's debuting against.
I mean,
she ain't coming. I mean, maybe her first feud. Maybe a feud that she's going to, one of her first feuds. That ain't going to be her.
You ain't the champ anymore. Aew's got to work back up.
But I'm just saying, well, she ain't going to get beat by Frankie Monet in her first match back after losing the championship either.
You're assuming Frankie Monet is going to win.
I am. That's Taya Valkyrie. You don't bring her to NXT and have her job out the first match you bring her in. I would be shocked if they did that.
It might be premature, but I'm souring on this whole Frankie Monet thing pretty quickly.
Oh, no.
It doesn't look like the badass Taya Valkyrie that I thought we were getting from Lucha Underground and from Impact. So
it does not. But, Nick, I need to remind you of Dijak and T-Bar, the Viking Raiders, and War Machine. I need to remind you of quite a few of these things where people aren't quite as awesome as they are in the indies. Just throwing that out there, buddy. Like temper your expectations just a little bit.
I'm trying.
Okay.
Kyle threw in 100 bits says, my question is, with all this grief DiBiase is giving Cameron and driving him mad, I wonder if they incorporate this week's cryptocurrency crash into the feud. Yeah, I got out of my Dogecoin, guys. I did good. I did really good. I did 5 figures good. I had been sitting on that Dogecoin for like 2 years. And finally, it goes up to like 70, 80 cents. And I was like, out!
You and everybody else.
Yeah, and so if I contributed to that, I'm sorry, but not sorry.
Yeah. Cameron Grimes going to be coming for you, man. Man, I hope they bring that in the storyline is that Dogecoin killed him. I lost all my money.
That should be the story. Yes.
Yeah, and then have DiBiase be like, that's right, I cashed out. Next thing you know, here we are.
Yep. Thank you, Kyle. Andy threw in 100 bits said, is DiBiase just being used as a ratings grab right now? Every casual knows who he is. Do they? And maybe intrigued by Ted being back on TV. If you weren't watching wrestling in the early 90s, you don't know who Ted DiBiase is.
If they're using DiBiase as a ratings grab, 1, it's not working. No. And 2, it would be for the 50s and over, which would make sense considering the demographic that NXT usually has any kind of business in.
Yeah, none of y'all are in the NXT demographic.
No.
That 50-plus demographic.
Oh, my goodness.
It's yeah, it doesn't work. Sorry, Andy.
Yeah. Even Charlotte Flair couldn't boost the NXT ratings that much. DiBiase ain't going to do it. But quite a few other
Kyle
things.
threw in 100 bits said, "How about Thunder Strike for Toni Storm's new finisher?"
I'm not mad, but then you might have Thunder Rosa coming for her.
You've been Thunder Striked. No.
Yeah, Thunder Striked. It could work. Yeah. I dig it. Yeah. I dig it.
Yeah.
I dig that. Not mad at that. I'm also not mad at the Legado de Fantasma versus Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher match for the #1 contendership for MSK's titles. Holy shit, Nick.
Where did this come from?
Mother of God. Like, okay, so going back for we've been doing this show now for about, give or take 4 years. Give or take.
Pretty much right at 4 years.
Yeah, I think right around then, right? Right around 4 years, somewhere around there. One of the first things we noted when he first came out was that Raul Mendoza, he used to be an enhancement guy in NXT. That guy was so good. We were even commenting like, this dude too good to be an enhancement. Yep. He was the star of this match. Full stop. Yep. Dude was incredible. Got his face busted open. Was not busted wide open, but it was busted open. He had blood smeared all over. He had to get checked on by the medical crew because he was bleeding all over the place. Still went back in and finished the match. And not only that, Ciampa they get Raul Mendoza back in the ring. And one of the first things Ciampa does is just crack him across the face with an open hand slap that he barely held back on. And Mendoza gave it right back to him. Unreal. This match was hard hitting, it was choppy, it was physical, it was fast as hell. Ciampa at one point did his bouncing off the ropes, running and forearm in the corner to both members of Legado de Fantasma in alternating corners back and forth for about 2 minutes, and the dude didn't even break a sweat and didn't even look winded afterwards. No. Ridiculous.
Straight cardio for that dude for the last 2 years.
Holy crap.
He's been on the Finn Balor no-carb diet for 2 years now.
Oh, man. He's on the Rocky diet. He eats thunder and shits lightning.
Yeah. I swear, he is that skeleton. I wish I could look up the name from Hellboy, where he was carrying the skeleton guy on his shoulder.
Yeah, like the Russian. Yeah. It was just like a Russian corpse he dug out of the graveyard.
With the beard and everything.
Yeah, it's supposed to look like Rasputin a little bit. But they had Rasputin in it as well.
Oh, that's who it was. Yeah.
But it wasn't Rasputin. No. Rasputin was also in the comic. It's a whole. Don't get me started on Hellboy. Don't get me started on Hellboy. We'll be here all night.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Where were we?
Okay. We were talking about the fact that the match was great, except the finish was sadly a distraction finish with grizzled young vets coming out and getting involved, ultimately beating up Ciampa on the outside, tossing him back in to eat the 1-2-3 pin. So Grizzled Young Vets are still thorns in the side of Thatcher and Ciampa. That feud will continue. And Legado de Fantasma goes on to face MSK in 2 weeks, which, yes, please, after this match, give that to me. Put it in my eye holes. Yes. A couple more things on NXT. Alexander Wolf, as we mentioned earlier in the show, he's fired. They wrote him off TV by having him get murdered by his former tag team partner, Killian Dane. And then Imperium, mad that he couldn't get the job done, kicked him out of Imperium, beat him up after the match. So kind of a sad way to see Alexander Wolf go. Apparently, he said they fired him, they said, because of financial reasons. And, WWE is kind of hard up for money right now.
Yeah.
So I can see why that would.
They totally just didn't get $1 billion from MDC.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
They have, basically what they're telling him is, we have money, we just don't have enough money for you. Yeah. Ouch. Almost as painful as a match with Pete Dunne, who says that he could go anywhere he wants and fight anyone he wants because he's got a reason to face everybody. But he's probably looking at the NXT Championship because never really fought Cross, and he really wants that belt. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the show, Bobby Fish is saying, Pete, you saying no one wants to face you? I want to face you because you and Lorcan took me out with an elbow injury at War Games, and I'm pissed off about that. Bobby Fish versus Pete Dunne. We wondered where Pete Dunne was going, Nick.
Oh, Bobby, no. You're just going to get hurt again, man.
As long as he can go out there and sell for Pete Dunne, I don't think Bobby's winning this feud. This is just going to make Pete Dunne look even badder.
That's true.
This is perfect. I think this is perfect. Keep Pete Dunne occupied for a little bit. That's fine.
Yep.
Build him up more.
Yeah, I'm down.
And finally, speaking of being occupied, Saray killed Aaliyah. Jessica Kamea tried to get involved, but Saray pretty much wiped the floor with Aaliyah pretty quickly, as you'd expect. Still not really sure where they're going with Saray.
No.
But there she is. She's here. She's pretty badass.
She had 2 killer matches 2 weeks in a row, and then Jay gets fed Jessica Kamea. Okay. Or sorry, Aaliyah.
Yeah. Fine. It's fine.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with it. It's fine. It was just kind of there, and she's just kind of there, and her character's just kind of there. So, decreasing dividends, do something with her.
Right.
That's all I have to say about that. That's all we have to say about NXT, Nick. We got any catching up to do?
No, we're good.
Well, then good, because we have plenty of catching up to do over on the other brand, and that, of course, would be AEW Dynamite.
Whew. Well, we kicking things off in the women's division. Serena Deeb is back. Serena Deeb returns and is back to just absolutely tear the house down with Red Velvet.
Tear the house down.
Here's the question. Where does Serena Deeb fit into all of this? A lot of the focus has been on Jade Cargill and Red Velvet around Brandy Rhodes. And there's been a lot of focus on Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa. And then Hikaru Shida over there as well. Serena Deeb is starting to feel like a bit of a fifth wheel here, man. Like, how does she fit into this whole thing? Is she more valuable to AEW, or should NWA fight for her to get her back?
Well, this is the crazy thing. You're an AEW signed wrestler working as the NWA champion, and you're out for a little bit. We don't see her for a while. And as you say, all this other stuff happens. But then they make her relevant immediately by having her come back and face one of the women who is in a lot of those other matches you were talking about. That's Red Velvet. And you have a match that goes a mile a minute. Serena Deeb having to slow down Red Velvet a couple of times. The whole idea was that Serena was the wily veteran with the submission move. She's now wearing a shirt that says Woman of 1,000 Holds, which I love that. I love that, especially because Malenko's backstage and approved it. I love that. She came out, and basically you had Red Velvet, who was just a little Tasmanian devil, and Serena was there just trying to, grab onto her and slow her down. And you ended up having just a badass mile a minute match. This was a fast-paced match. The pace of this match was what I really, really remember the most.
This was one of the better women's matches I've seen in a minute. This was freaking fantastic.
But that's what Serena Deeb comes out. She's done this now regularly on AEW. Come out and have a killer match. Come out and have a killer match. And this is what I'm wondering. You brought up the other feuds. You also had, I'm actually going to jump ahead in our notes and kind of smush this together. We had Hikaru Shida facing off in a match against Reba, not Rebel, or
Rebel, not Reba.
Whatever.
Yeah. That
French lady. She came out, had a very quick match with Shida where she showboated a little bit. Shida ended up taking her out, and as soon as Shida took her out, in comes Britt Baker to beat down Shida. and set up for their match at Double or Nothing. Honestly, I was more engaged by Deeb and Velvet. Do you feel that Velvet so the Deeb and Velvet match inarguably was a better match? It was actually a match. The one with Rebel and Hikaru Shida was just a squash, essentially.
It was nothing more than set up for Britt Baker coming out to attack her.
Yeah, you're a big Britt Baker fan. Yeah. I agree with you that she's probably the biggest women's star they have in terms of just her star power. But Deeb is definitely, I would argue, probably the best women's technical wrestler they have.
Like, she's in the conversation like best in the world women's wrestler.
She's getting there. Every time she has one of these matches, you have to start putting her on that level. But I'm looking at the picture of the women's division in AEW and saying you've got the NWA champ hanging out here. You have Thunder Rosa, who signed to NWA, who wants a match with Serena Deeb, and she wants a match with Britt Baker. Britt Baker quite likely is going to beat Hikaru Shida at Double or Nothing. That's a pretty good picture right there. And if you end up melding those two lines of interactions, you could suddenly have a very, very, very exciting top of your card in the women's division.
Very exciting women's division overall.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of the groundwork's already laid for that, for what I just said. Like, you've got a pretty solid, for something that a year ago we were shitting all over. Like, oh God, this is terrible, right? Now with the insertion of the NWA women, Thunder Rosa, Serena Deeb, and you've had some indie ladies like Layla Hirsch, and others come in, right? Allison Kay, a couple of others had come in. So
a couple that are being trained at the Nightmare Factory. Yeah.
It just, now I'm sitting here going, okay, y'all went and got your shit together.
Tay Conti coming over from NXT. Like, they have a pretty solid division now. They've got a lot of talent there, a lot of women that could step up and be big stars in the future. But the big question is, what do you do with the NWA belt? What is NWA going to do? Do you strap Camille? Because that would be what I would do.
I mean, technically, she's the number one contender, if I'm not mistaken.
Strap Camille, do it quick before Deeb, if you're going to have Deeb do that and get involved with the title picture in AEW, do it quick so you have a little bit of distance between that and Deeb being a contender again.
Yeah.
This would be my thought.
Yep. Fantastic match, fantastic showing from these ladies all across the board, frankly, on Wednesday's Dynamite.
Yeah. Very good. And then we had our main event. I mean, basically the rest of the show was just Double or Nothing prep. Like, let's set up the card for Double or Nothing. And pretty much the rest of us talking about AEW is going to be, and then they set up this for Double or Nothing. And then they set up this for Double or Nothing. Their main event was a setup for Double or Nothing. We know we're going to get Young Bucks versus Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley. So we had the Young Bucks in the main event taking on the Varsity Blondes. You had Eddie Kingston and Moxley taking on the Acclaimed elsewhere in the show. We'll talk about that match in a second, because the first thing we got to talk about is the main event of the Young Bucks and the Varsity Blondes. The Varsity Blondes cut a very nice babyface promo early in the show. You had the Bucks didn't really cut. It's the Bucks. They're complete asshole heels now. They're evil. No more so, Nick, that something that I noticed, and that they pointed it out last week when you had Christopher Daniels bleeding on Matt's shoes, but they came out with new shoes this week, more Jordans, and it was like, I can't believe that I know Matt is a big Jordan head.
Yeah, they always have the J's on,
But it looked like they had their outfits were made to match their shoes.
Whoa!
Hey!
What in the hell?
What's that? What's she doing here?
So I'm sitting in my car.
Oh!
A wild JB appears.
Thinking about this, and I gotta say something.
Uh-oh.
The Young Bucks were wearing a Nike and Dior collaborative limited edition shoe that runs between about $8,000 to $10,000 a pair. $8,000 to $10,000 a pair. That means between the two of them, they have roughly about $20,000 on their feet. Now, first of all, Dior is a high fashion, mostly women's brand known for their runway collections, their perfumes, and their high-end makeup, okay? Like, the Young Bucks are not their target audience. Like, what the hell are the Young Bucks doing wearing these shoes, for one? For two, any sneakerheads know that with a limited edition super special, super rare, $10,000 a pair shoe. You do not crease those shoes. You do not wear those shoes in the ring. You put a crease in the toe bin of those shoes before the match was even over, and now they're ruined. You took a $10,000 pair of shoe and you ruined them in one match. What the hell are you doing, Young Bucks? And Eddie, I know you stole those shoes, but what you gonna do? You can't even get the price back for them now. They're ruined. Sneakerheads everywhere are mad. I just had to get that off my chest. That's it.
Oh my goodness. JB cutting a promo on the Young Bucks in the middle of our show.
I don't know how that happened. I honestly do not know how that happened. A giant kaiju JB just appeared on the screen. Interesting commentary, though, that she brought to the table. Like, I had no idea those things were $10,000. It makes all sense in the world why New Yorker Eddie Kingston's yanking the sneaks off.
At the end of the match, you have the Young Bucks beat the Varsity Blondes straight up and then start posing, and you have Kingston and Moxley come out at the end, take them out, and steal their shoes. Steal their shoes. I mean, I think JB was getting worked here because there's no way they were wearing real Dior Jordans in the ring.
I mean, they had it printed on the sole.
For the exact reason that she elucidated. There's no way. So, JB, I know you're about to get on a plane to Florida to F up some Young Bucks, but calm down, girl. It's okay. I'm pretty sure they weren't real Dior Jordans because that would indeed be insane. Insane. And some true heel tactics to just, ruin $20,000 worth of shoe by wearing them in a match. But that's good heel shit right there as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
Mel D threw in 100 bits, said no wonder Mox and Kingston did what they did. Yeah, exactly. And did you see how good at it Eddie Kingston was? He had both of Matt's shoes off before Mox even got Nick's untied.
Moxley was trying to get one off, and Eddie was just... He was like, that dude has stolen shoes before.
He's taken shoes off a man before.
Eddie Kingston provably has stolen a man's shoes before. Oh my God! Wow. Yes, that was wonderful. What a wonderful touch to all this. By
I would
the way.
also like to know how JB got onto our stream without me knowing about it. That's
I don't know.
I love it. Thank you for the commentary, JB. But let me know next time.
Jumping into this, jumping into our DMs. But so that's the thing. I love the little details here. I love the thought that went into this. Last week, you had the Bucks take out a beloved tag team in SCU. We were grousing. I was particularly pissed about how they didn't let the end of that match breathe, and they went right into Kingston and Moxley trashing the Young Bucks dressing room backstage because they had to build that feud. But they should, they just disbanded a damn legendary tag team. You should give them a little more time than that. And this week they doubled down on that by having the Bucks take out a beloved babyface up-and-coming team in the Varsity Blondes, and they didn't need to really have anything after that match. So they let the Bucks pose for a second and then get beat down by Moxley and Kingston, who then stole their shoes. So this was a good follow-up to last week. It made the Bucks, they were heelish again.
He even took his
socks. They win again. He even took his socks. He even took the man's socks. Kingston, you animal.
He took his socks off his corpse. Just Eddie Kingston, you are the man. I love Eddie Kingston so much.
He was so money on this show, even that they were at a promo. Him and Mox had a promo that they cut, and just some of the lines coming out of Eddie's mouth. He's fantastic. He's been absolutely killing it in AEW because of little details like this. The way he sells his leg in the match against the Acclaimed was magnificent as well. As you can imagine, they destroyed the Acclaimed after, of course, the Acclaimed came out and ran a couple of bars on them, saying that Kingston looked like he was straight out of 2004 and looked like a box of Newports, and that Moxley's wife had been sliding into
trying to get some oral sessions.
Caster's mentions trying to get some oral sessions. Like, oh, dude, you boys gonna die. And I like the fact that Kingston and Moxley aren't afraid to go dirty and actually you're gonna use the boombox on us. We'll use the boombox on you. We don't care. So they were great all show. I'm liking the Bucks versus Moxley and Kingston a lot more this week than I did last week, where I was still pissed that I didn't think that they did enough for the SCU breakup. That being said, Nick, they did give Christopher Daniels a promo of a goddamn lifetime on being the Elite. And if you have not seen his medical room promo, finish out our show. We're almost done. But then go watch it immediately afterwards. It's
legendary.
It's phenomenal. And then on this show, you actually had Daniels being interviewed by Marvez with Kazarian on the other side. And he asked, Daniels, you tweeted out, this might be it. What does that mean? And CD didn't say anything. He just whispered something to Kazarian that we couldn't hear and walked away. Eyes all stitched up and everything. And Kazarian then cut an absolute molten promo on the entire Elite, saying, I'm going to teach you guys what it's like to have your heart, have your soul ripped out of your body. I'm coming for each and every one of you. I'm going to put you in the ground. That's the gospel according to Kazarian. You have my goddamn attention. If you have Kazarian turn into the freaking Punisher and just going around murdering people that are even associated with the Elite, 100% in.
I thought they were retiring. I thought this was I didn't know that we had this coming. I didn't know we had Rambo 3 coming. Like, it's, God, okay, this is shit. This is serious. Okay. We're still in this.
I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm down for Rambo Kazarian. They do First Blood, not me. They do First Blood. Hell yes, dude. Yeah. 100% about
Murdoch.
that.
I'm coming to get you. Dragonfly Wolf Den. Colorful names. Calthrin 100 bits said, my sneakerhead soul says preach, JB. But JB, calm down because those are knockoff fakes. I would be with you otherwise. Still worth criticizing them for having the gall to wear fakes.
I would rather I'm not even going to tell JB they're fakes.
Kyle, just
let her go. Trust me. It's better
just
this way.
Let it happen. It's okay.
She went all south side on the Bucks, man. That's why we don't mess with JB on this show. She'll kill you for your shoe. She'll kill you
for what you did to your shoes.
She'll kill you for messing up your shoe.
Exhibit A. Right.
And she can too. That girl does not mess around.
Thank you,
thank you very much. Quick question before we move on to the rest of AEW.
Okay.
This week, Kingston and Moxley came out to Wild Thing again.
Different version.
It was the version for Major League.
Yeah.
But last time they came out to the Trogs, the original version, which is a little more dated sounding. This week they came out to the version that Onita used to come out to, that Major League used, by the should be famous LA punk band X, one of my favorite punk bands. Which version do you like better?
This one, easily. I even made the Major League reference last week. Rick Vaughn comes to the mound, and this is the song that plays, right?
Yes.
It's awesome. I love it. Legendary.
Yeah. I prefer this version too.
Totally. It fits him better too. It's just an electric guitar sped up a little bit version. Yeah.
It's got a little more attitude. It's a little more energy. It's from a punk band.
Right.
It's automatically better. So, yeah, I agree. The Pinnacle were having dinner at a restaurant. And MJF cut a promo on how Jericho thinks he's so awesome. Just accept the match, you idiots, and we'll break up Inner Circle. That's what we do. We're the Pinnacle. We're bad, bad men. And they proved that throughout the dinner. Wardlow chugged a bottle of wine, asked for another one. Sean Spears could not get a glass of wine, so he decided to beat up a waiter and had to be told he had to be pulled off the waiter, which was cute. You had Dax cut a promo as well, which was very nice. But strangely, Cash doesn't really say much in these.
No.
And then, of course, you also had Tully Blanchard throw some money at the waiter and be like, that'll about take care of it. Don't worry about it, kid. Good stuff. I like this Pinnacle segment a lot. They needed to feel like badass, scary dudes. And this, I think, got us there, especially for Sean Spears.
This was the best I've seen Sean Spears look since he came out and chair shot Cody.
Yes, agreed. He has a hard time looking evil and feeling intimidating. This felt evil and intimidating.
And even Cash and Dax gave him their wine, just slid it across the table. They're like, "Hey, man!"
Everyone being and people need to do that for him.
Yes.
You have to act sell him being so scary that you don't want to piss him off. I like that. And then conversely, we had the Inner Circle come out to the ring and do something that's become a little bit familiar now, which is all of them bluster and bluff about how they're going to kill the Pinnacle, and the Pinnacle's going to have to kill them to stop them.
This doesn't end until one of us are in the ground kind of thing.
And then we're going to piss on your grave. Ooh, Jericho. It's all very well delivered, but at this point, it's starting to seem self-serving isn't the word.
No, that's
the fact
entrance.
That's part of it. Coming out to the ring, having the crowd there, Jericho just, feeding off of his song being sung by this crowd, and then all of them cutting essentially a similar version of the same promo. It does feel to me a little bit redundant and masturbatory. Yeah. But
I agree.
Hey, it's gonna be a fantastic match.
That takes nothing away from my interest in seeing this Stadium Stampede match.
Exactly.
Shepy threw in 100 bits. Said, excuse me. Frankie Castle, Kazarian. Frank Castle,
Bingo.
Kazarian. Yes.
Frank Castle.
Bring that immediately. Love me some Kazarian, and revenge is awesome motive. Absolutely.
Damn straight. 100% good Brad Shepard. I agree.
No titles.
100%.
No, nothing. Just absolute. Just go nuts.
Right. I don't want your titles. I don't want your gold. I don't want anything but your blood.
And I'm gonna with you every step of the way I can. I'm gonna get in the way of everything. I'm gonna disrupt everything I can that you're trying to accomplish. Yeah.
There's not enough of that in pro wrestling.
Yeah.
No,
it's all bullshit distraction finish crap.
Right, but give me vigilantes. Give me like a guy or a woman who's on a singular mission that has nothing to do with winning matches. They're just there for vengeance, or they're just there to right a wrong or avenge a debt. Love it. Don't get enough of it. I'm excited. I'm so excited for that.
If Frankie had looked at the camera and gone, "I have a particular set of skills,"
it would have been a little bit too. It's a little bit too on the nose.
I mean, he wouldn't be wrong. He does.
He does.
Do you?
Maybe that's coming. Maybe that's coming. Kenny Omega versus Orange Cassidy versus Pac is also a match that's been made for Double or Nothing. This week, Pac cut a backstage promo about how he was ready to kill everybody. About time AEW gave him a shot. We also had a whole segment with Orange Cassidy, supposedly right after he got concussed last week, with Kenny Omega and Don Callis coming in and offering him a contract that said, you will get your match with Kenny Omega at a later date. It will be non-title, but at least you won't possibly lose your career by being injured and going up against Kenny Omega. Orange Cassidy responded by very, very slowly ripping the whole paper. Brilliant.
Brilliantly done.
Brilliant. Then they gave him a second copy and said, just let us know. Excited for that match. That's going to be fantastic. Hope that OC is okay in time. Apparently he just got banged up pretty hard, so fingers crossed for him. Speaking of banged up pretty hard, Austin Gunn had a match with Anthony Ogogo. Anthony punched him in the stomach so hard he spat up blood in Anthony's face. That was a nice visual I haven't seen before, or at least in a long time. Even Cornette wrote in to say that Austin Gunn sells better than almost anyone in the company. Austin Gunn sold this brilliantly. Brilliantly.
Another fantastic up-and-coming talent in AEW for their roster. It's
absolutely.
And with the pedigree of his dad and everything he did, just amazing.
He made Ogogo look terrifying. You had Cody come out to stand with him, literally draped in the American flag. Ogogo coming out with the British flag wrapped around his hand because he's a boxer and he punches with that. He's punching for the Queen. The whole force of the British Empire behind my hand. Oh, he's more Cockney than that, but you know what I mean. He's the governor. I'm not even going to attempt it. So yeah, this was good. I'm not a big fan of, the whole America versus Britain thing. Everything else about this I love. Yeah. Everything else I love it. I love it. Listening to Ogogo talk about his eye, they're actually talking about the fact that he's only got 30% visibility in his left eye. Legit.
But he's still a monster.
But they're selling him as a monster because his career is going to be very short. Yeah. He takes one bad bump, one bad hit in the face, his career's done, and he's half blind.
Damn.
Because that's how bad his eye injury is. Lucky for him, he has a wonderful second career available as a commentator because the dude is money on the microphone. Yep. So at least he's getting his big matches in now, so he can have something to look back on. So very happy about all of that. Sting and Darby Allin jumped Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page while they were talking to Tony Schiavone. Well, they started talking to Tony Schiavone, and then they ended up taking the mic away from him. Cut a damn good promo about how Sting didn't belong there, and Darby Allin's a has-been who lost his title. So Sting and Allin came out, beat him up with a skateboard, put him in the Scorpion Deathlock, and sent him packing. They tried to run out through the entrance halls, but Dark Order came out and blocked them off. They don't have a whole lot of friends, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. Not very many friends at all. Are you, Nick? I'm getting more excited about this match. Tag team match. Sting and Allin versus Page and Scorpio Sky. Sting actually in a ring live wrestling. I'm getting more excited about it.
Me too. And was this where Hangman Page came out with Dark Order and got mixed up in this whole thing?
No, Page came out. The next thing we're going to talk about.
Oh, okay.
I know you're very excited about. Well, let's talk about it now. Yeah. Christian Cage opened up the show against Matt Sydal. We knew this was happening last week because Christian Cage gave an open challenge to anyone from Team Taz, and Matt Sydal said, "You're not getting Team Taz, you're getting me next week." And so we opened up with a lovely match straight out of 2010.
Love it.
If y'all ever watch WrestleMania 26, these guys were in a Money in the Bank ladder match together, along with many other people who are current champions. That's an awesome Money in the Bank ladder match to go and check out. But here they had a nice match to open the show. Christian Cage, again, fighting upwards and finally beating out Matt Sydal.
This was a beautiful meat and potatoes mat wrestling match. I absolutely love this. This is fantastic.
A little bit of high flying. It's Evan Bourne. It's Matt Sydal. It's going to be a little bit of high flying. Yep. I loved it. That was in there as well. And at the end, Taz is on commentary, says, "Hey, Christian, look up here." So he does, turns his back, and Team Taz comes in Ricky Starks comes out, causes the distraction. And up comes the other Cage, Brian Cage, and Powerhouse Hobbs behind Christian and Matt Sydal. Jump them, beat them down, until Hangman Page wanders out with a beer in his hand, gives it to Ricky Starks, and jumps into the ring for the save. Only can't quite make the save because Hook gets him from behind. And that's all she wrote. Everyone gets beaten down by Team Taz, who stands tall. Fabulous. Fabulous. Get Page involved more in this Team Taz angle. Get him involved with Christian Cage. There's all kind of ages going on here. It's wonderful.
Ricky Stark in a shark cage in a triple threat with Hangman Page, Brian Cage, Christian Cage in a steel cage.
Refereed by Diamond Dallas Page.
There you go.
Yes.
Wow.
And then at this point we should have all the jokes for this. Like, it's been made ad nauseum, but it's just. Keep it coming. Keep it coming.
This was the best thing that I've seen Christian Cage have this match since he came. But I'm feeling like what's he doing? What's his whole thing now? Is he here to put dudes over as a legend, or is he here to actually pursue championships?
I think he might have been there to pursue championships at first, but now I think he's just there to make a living wage.
As Christian Cage.
Yes. I don't know. I'm still trying to gauge what he's there for. But that being said, I'm liking what they're doing with him now. I think he's in the place where he should be, and this whole Team Taz, Hangman Page feud, all of this stuff circling around is wonderful. I like all these guys being together where they are. There's good stuff for all of them involved, and nothing better for anyone. I'm over the moon for the next and final segment we're talking about. Miro coming out to celebrate his new championship belt. He is your new TNT champion, and he said, "I'm ready to take on anybody, but first, that guy Lance Archer." Out comes Lance Archer to say, "I'm the Murder Hawk Monster. I fought for that title in the very first match for that title, and I'll kick your ass." We're going to show him a hoss fight like they ain't seen, which, of course, Nick is over there right now about to explode from hearing this.
Put it in my eye holes.
And Miro says, "I know you say everybody dies, but guess what? You're first."
Miro is on fire right now.
Yes.
This is exactly what I want him to be.
This is what I think everyone wanted him to be, and they're finally letting him do
Drop
it.
the best man shit, and let's go.
He's cutting 1980s action movie promos on big dudes and saying he's going to go have a hoss fight with them. Yes. Thank you. Oh, my stars and garters. I'm getting hot under the collar. Oh, that's exactly what I wanted from Miro from the second he got there. I feel bad that Lance Archer, who's a dude who I think should also be treated the same way, is going to be, he's going to be the guy that gets it now. But you know what? It's going to be a badass match, and I'm here for it.
That's
it. That's all I got to say about
Let Miro evolve. We get past this Kenny Omega thing, whatever it is, however long it takes to get to Paige, and they have their ultimate blow-off thing.
Take your
Miro's
time.
absolutely in that conversation long term.
The way they're showing him off right now, absolutely. The way he's cutting his promos. That's right. You're first, Lance Archer. I'm coming for you. Look at my peaks. One little thing I want to note before we get out of here. I mentioned a little bit before that Dean Malenko is backstage at AEW. Also fighting Parkinson's, which, dude, brutal disease. We had a little backstage moment between him. Marvez comes up to him and Chris Jericho, and Jericho says, "Hey, Marvez, I know you're trying to get the scoop on something, but you don't want to piss off the man of 1,000 holds." And Malenko's able to get out. He turns to Jericho and says, "Hey, man, you got 4 on me." And Jericho turns back to him and goes, "I have forgotten a few." My heart, Nick. My heart. That was beautiful.
That was a good moment.
I mean, talk about calling back to some absolutely classic
We're talking
stuff.
like almost 30 years ago.
98 was the man of 1,000 holds, I think. The man of 1,000 holds.
24 years.
Holds. God damn. Incredible.
Wow.
But that was AEW, and that's our show, everybody. That means we have one segment left we got to do before we get out of here, and that, of course, is a little segment we like to call our moment of positivity.
Mop, 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 mop.
The mop, the moment of positivity. That's right. It's the time on the show where Nick and I think back over the last few days of wrestling and try to come up with something that made us really, really happy. They made us smile, that brought some warm fuzzies to our hearts. So we can spread that out to y'all before you go back out into the world so you can have a smile on your face as well. So, Nick, what was your moment of positivity from the last week?
Spoiled for choice this week.
You are. It was a really good week of wrestling.
There's so many honorable mentions. Like, how do I pick one? Even SmackDown tonight was fantastic. I really enjoyed SmackDown tonight.
Very few slow points.
Which is rare to be able to say. Oh, I've got like 5 in my head, and I'm trying to process and pick one. How do I not pick Toni? There is no thing that happened in wrestling this week that I've had more conversation about online, just of various means, than Toni Storm's new finisher. It has to be my moment of positivity this week. You're right. Storm Zero is starting to get a little bit meh. But now we've got this and the feud with Zoey Stark that's going on. Like, give me more of that. Right. But yes, this new finisher is absolutely one of the MVP kind of moments of the week in wrestling, because everybody's talking about it. And I have to name that as mine. There's so many other things I could rattle off.
And for anyone who's saying that she stole it, like, that was her trainer.
Yeah,
Steal it.
No. And stole it from who?
It's from her trainer.
Nobody else in the world is using it. I think there was one other person that came up that was using a ruby cutter, but.
Well, Dean Allmark was known for using it, and that's the thing. Is everyone's like, you stole it from Dean Allmark? She's like, I was trained by Dean Allmark.
He even tweeted out that he taught it to her.
Yeah.
Like,
just to clear it all up. But yes, really awesome finisher, awesome match between the two of them. For me, I think I just said mine. The men of 2004 holds getting back together after 23 years. Holy crap. That was a amazingly heartwarming moment. Always great to see Dean Malenko. Don't know how many more times I'll be able to see him on TV saying any kind of promo. So every time is special. So that has to be my moment of positivity. As you said, spoiled for choice, could give so many honorable mentions, but that's got to be the one. That being said, Nick, that's my moment of positivity in wrestling. But there's another moment of positivity that I've got to say before we get out of the show here.
Okay.
And that is, first of all, 4 years of this show. That doesn't happen without, like, people watching us. If we still had a dozen people watching us, we wouldn't still be.
No.
We're here because y'all are out there watching the show, talking to us in chat, subscribing to us, posting to us on Facebook, talking to us on Twitter. hitting us up, supporting us on Patreon. This doesn't happen without you guys. And I know that. I know that in my heart to begin with, but it never sunk in harder than yesterday doing the 4th anniversary show. When that video played, Nick, that the JB put together, with so many phenomenal ones talking about, their experience with the show, and saying thank you. And that's my moment of positivity for, that's one of the top ones in my life right there.
That's like a really big all moment.
Around. People shouting out in the chat at the same time, like everything was, that was an all-time moment of positivity. You and I, Nick, have put a lot of work into the show, a lot of effort, and it's not even so that it makes it worth it. It makes it a blessing.
Yeah.
It was an honor. It was wonderful to have been able to do it. And to continue to do it, and to have it be so fun, and just have such a wonderful community and so many people out there, all y'all who are just so magnificent and so phenomenal. So my moment of positivity is absolutely all you phenomenal ones checking out our show, listening to us right now. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Here's to 4 years, and here's to all the other years that you have coming, that we have coming, because we'll all be there together.
And I hope you guys can see the commitment that we have, the level of effort that we put into things as far as like updating everything constantly and graphics and new stuff. And we're here. We're invested. We ain't going anywhere. So I hope that's visible. It makes you guys want to participate more, makes you guys want to scream it from the rooftops. Come watch Busted Wide Open. Mel, I saw you over on Twitter. Thank you for that one. Since you're here, I wanted to give you a shout out for that one.
Thank you.
Esme sharing us over on Instagram all the time. That is how we grow, guys. Is just by you guys telling everyone that and loves wrestling to come check us out, and that means the world to us. So thank you guys. Yeah. I'll echo Surrey and Dangerous. It's been an amazing, interesting 4 years. It's been interesting. I almost want to make like a timeline infographic kind of thing of like the story points of like what's going on throughout the show and the changes that we've made, because we've been through so much, and you guys have stuck with us. You've stuck with us ride or die through many, many changes, from me moving across the country to figuring out how to be a podcast and then a live stream, and somehow doing that both for 2 years, and then now where we're at today, just being a full live show. It's really monumental when you look at where we were sitting in my shitty little apartment in Sherman Oaks 4 years ago in a hot ass bedroom with barely any AC, to now being on opposite sides of the country and fully live.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's wild. And it doesn't happen, like I was saying, it doesn't happen, Nick, that all you guys listening to us. So, and watching us all over the place.
Speaking of which,
thank you guys very much.
I got to shout out one more before we get out of here. Kyle snuck in 100 bits, said, I want to shout out the NXT UK chess match for the Heritage Cup for Tyler Bate and A-Kid.
Oh, my God.
But I have to pick Eichmann Giro as my mop. It's rare that a performer just comes out and puts the biggest smile on my face like I'm 5, but that man on 205 Live just brings my soul joy. Congrats also to the big man, Bronson Reed. Thank you, Kyle.
Amen, sir. Thank you, Sam.
Well,
thank you, Kyle, very much, man. You're the man.
You blew us away last night, man. All of the support that you bring every single show. Thank you so much, specifically for you. If you guys haven't seen it yet, you can go watch the VOD for any $10 patrons and $10 YouTube members. You can all watch the video from last night's 4-year celebration show that we did as our May bonus episode. The audio's coming.
My neck is still sore, man.
I know. The audio's coming. I just haven't gotten to it yet. But you can go watch the Try Not to Headbang Challenge segment on YouTube if you did not get to see it live last night. I did put that up this morning over on the YouTube channel so everybody can watch it. Hopefully it gets some reviews. Share it with your friends. It's a good time. Challenge them. See if they can get through it by watching us try to do it. So leave us a comment, like the videos, all that kind of good stuff. You guys know what to do. Linktree.com/BWO for all the links to all of our stuff. Make sure you get into the Discord and hang out with some of the other phenomenal ones. If you want to support the show, Patreon.com/BWO. Throw in your subs and bits here on Twitch or YouTube. I see you guys over there. What's up, Jay? What's up, Dave? Thank you guys so much for your support. Throw in your memberships over there. You can get all of the emojis and unlocks, badges and all of that stuff. You got the 99 cent tier, the $4.99, and the $9.99. Kind of lined up with what's going on over here on Twitch as well. So you can do memberships on YouTube. You can do subs and bits here on Twitch. We thank you guys for all of it. It all means the world to us, and it helps us keep things going.
Nick, look what just happened.
Esme showing up at 11:59 with the 1,000 bits.
Goodness. Thank you, love.
Bits
Thank
for the
you very
boys.
much,
Happy
Esme.
Friday, phenomenal one, she says. Thank you very much, Esme.
Thank you so much, Esme. As
you
always,
guys are way too generous. I really appreciate it.
You guys are awesome.
Thank you so
we
much,
love you.
guys.
We appreciate it so much.
And I got to get out of here before I lose my voice after last night's show.
Entirely, yes.
But until next time, guys, my name is Nick Howell. You can find me on Twitter at DataCenterDude.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous. You can find me on Twitter at Sir Ian Dangerous.
But by God!
Somebody stop the damn match!
This show is part of the Orbital Jigsaw Network. For more episodes, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher Radio. For details and show notes from each episode, check us out, orbitaljigsaw.com.